think everybody that knows Sean Carter knows that he will slump anyone in any relationship for $1.
The sister of musical icon Prince, Tyka Nelson, has died at the age of 64.
I had been preparing for 2 years, so I knew that it was coming. I've done everything that I've come to do. So I was crushed for about two years.
Well, it's not your game. You didn't make the rules, so everything comes hard. As long as you're signed to a contract, you're going to take a minority share of the winnings. A select few of us will do well. The majority will not.
What really happened to Tyka Nelson, the beloved sister of music legend Prince? Why did her life end so mysteriously, just as whispers of her brother's untimely death gained traction?
A person that used to do business with them is no longer with them because he no longer wanted to do business with Jay-Z and Diddy.
Is it all a coincidence? Or do powerful music giants like Jay-Z and Clive Davis have a hand in the shadows, pulling strings to hide dark secrets about Prince's legacy?
Why do y'all think Prince changed his name to a symbol so they couldn't own the rights to what he did? It was the smartest thing ever. Everybody thought he was crazy. No.
From the controversial moments leading up to Tyka's death to explosive claims about Prince's feud with Jay-Z, let's dive into this deep mystery that's shaking the music world to its core. Jaguar Wright, known for her unfiltered take on the industry, has cast an accusatory spotlight on some of music's most influential names, Jay-Z and Clive Davis. But this time, she's not just talking about any artist. She's talking about Tyka Nelson, the only full sibling of Prince, who tragically passed away. And with her death comes a wave of questions and suspicions, particularly about why it happened now.
Prince defied the odds. A black teen from Minneapolis with a goal to electrify the world. He had the courage to be different.
Tyka Nelson, Prince's younger sister, wasn't just family. She was his closest confidant. Imagine growing up in a home where music was like the family language. Their dad, John L. Nelson, was a jazz musician, and their mom, Maddie Shaw, sang too. So Tyka and Prince practically had music in their DNA. But unlike her brother, Tyka's life would end up being anything but glamorous. She faced serious struggles, from career letdowns to battles with addiction. And even though she was always overshadowed by Prince, she stayed close to him and even tried to make her own way in music. Though it was clear that fame hit the family lottery with him. So here's how it all went down. Tyka released her first album, Royal Blue, back in 1988, hoping to step out of Prince's shadow and make her own name. But the world wasn't exactly waiting for a second Nelson sibling to blow up the charts. Tyka's music didn't exactly take off, but that didn't stop her from trying to carve out a spot for herself. Meanwhile, she was dealing with some heavy personal struggles, which she's since opened up about, like her issues with addiction. It was no secret, but it also wasn't a headline that followed her around. Instead, Tyka kept quietly trying to keep her life and music career on track, staying out of the limelight. But everything changed when Prince passed away suddenly in 2016. With his shocking death came a whole new wave of attention on Tyka, who suddenly became the main point of contact for his legacy. Prince didn't leave a will, which meant a lot of legal drama. But Tyka took it on herself to step up, hoping to make sure her brother's memory was protected. She pushed to turn Paisley Park, his famous home and studio, into a museum. While some family members thought it was too soon or too businessy, Tyka felt it was the only way to honor Prince's work and give his fans a place to remember him.
He's not here physically, but through Paisley Park and his music, he'll live on forever.
Still, this commitment wasn't easy. Tyka had to face off with industry bigwigs who wanted a piece of Prince's pie. She started getting pushback from people who didn't exactly see eye to eye with her on how Prince's memory should be handled.
I had been preparing for 2 years, so I knew that it was coming.
And it wasn't just about Paisley Park. The people in charge of Prince's estate, his money, and his music catalog weren't always willing to let Tyka call the shots. She faced constant pressure, and as musician Jaguar Wright once hinted, going up against industry giants can be dangerous. They're used to controlling artists' legacies and making money off them. No one likes it when a family member steps in and insists things go a different way. In fact, Jaguar Wright has pointed out that Hollywood and the music industry aren't kind to anyone who tries to hold on to an artist's legacy if it gets in the way of business. For Taica, trying to preserve what Prince stood for meant she was suddenly in the middle of some very powerful people who weren't thrilled with her choices. She became the gatekeeper of Prince's legacy, and it's rumored that she had more than one heated conversation with executives who wanted to profit off Prince's work in ways that went against his wishes. Ultimately, Taica's commitment to preserving Prince's legacy may have even isolated her a bit. Some people close to her said she was relentless and wouldn't back down, even when things got ugly. And while she never had the fame or success her brother did, Taica became almost as important in the Prince story as he was. She was the one protecting his memory, dealing with all the behind-the-scenes drama, and pushing back against anyone who wanted to exploit him. It wasn't an easy job. In fact, it was more like an uphill battle. Family disagreements, industry giants pushing her around, and media scrutiny. But through it all, Taica stayed focused. She saw herself as Prince's protector even after his death, and didn't mind ruffling feathers to make sure he was remembered the way he would have wanted. Fast forward to 2024, and the tragic news hits. Tyka Nelson has passed away at the age of 64, but the circumstances feel far too convenient for some. Her death came just as discussions about Prince's mysterious passing and his conflicts with powerful names resurfaced. As fans pointed out, this timing is suspicious, leading to one question: was Taica silenced?
What he said was, I've done everything that I've come to do. So I was crushed for about two years.
Taica's son, President Nelson, stated that she passed in a hospital, but did not give a cause. This vagueness only fueled speculation. Could it be that her death was hastened by those who didn't want her digging deeper into her brother's death? To understand why Jaguar Wright suspects Jay-Z and Clive Davis, we have to take a closer look at their role in Prince's career. Prince Rogers Nelson, better known simply as Prince, was a legend who seemed to have it all. With his electrifying stage presence, boundary-pushing style, and a string of hits that defined a generation, like Purple Rain, Kiss, When Doves Cry, and I Want to Be Your Lover, he appeared to be living a life most could only dream of. To millions, Prince was more than just a musician. He was an icon, a symbol of artistic freedom, and a man who transcended the ordinary. Yet, behind the glittering curtain of fame, the Purple One's life was filled with far more darkness than most realized. Let's peel back that curtain and take a closer look at the tragic, complex, and often heartbreaking story of Prince. From the outside, Prince seemed like a man who had full command over every aspect of his life.
Only wanna see you laughing, yeah, in the purple rain, purple rain, purple rain.
His talent was undeniable, his energy on stage was unmatched, and his persona was magnetic. Anyone who witnessed him perform would likely agree that Prince's lithe, agile frame and his signature high-heeled boots were the embodiment of physical prowess. Even though he stood at just 5 feet 2 inches tall, he was a giant in the music world, dominating the stage with his unique blend of funk, rock, and soul. But as with many things, appearances can be deceiving. In reality, Prince's life was marked by numerous struggles, some of which began long before he ever became a star. Despite his powerful presence, Prince was not always the picture of health and vitality. In a 2009 interview with Tavis Smiley, Prince revealed a secret that shocked many. He was born with epilepsy.
I've never spoken about this before, but I was born epileptic. And I used to have seizures when I was young. And my mother and father didn't know what to do or how to handle it.
This revelation offered a glimpse into the challenges he faced growing up, challenges that could have easily derailed his path to stardom. He spoke about how his parents didn't really know how to handle his condition, leaving him to navigate his health struggles largely on his own. But in true Prince fashion, he didn't let it define him. One day I walked into her and said, "Mom, I'm not going to be sick anymore," he recalled. When his mother asked how he knew this, Prince replied simply, "Because an angel told me so." This story not only highlights Prince's early struggles, but also offers a window into the eccentric, almost mystical way he viewed the world, a perspective that would go on to shape his music and public persona. From an early age, Prince seemed to live in a realm that was just a little bit different from everyone else's, one where the ordinary rules didn't quite apply. As Prince's career took off, his physical prowess became one of his trademarks. He was known for his flamboyant performances, often involving acrobatic dance moves and dramatic leaps across the stage. all while wearing high-heeled platform shoes. But while these performances were thrilling for audiences, they took a serious toll on Prince's body. By the mid-2000s, rumors began circulating that the Purple One was suffering from severe hip problems, and these whispers grew louder over time. Some claimed that Prince had undergone a secretive surgical procedure to address the issue, while others speculated that he was in desperate need of a double hip replacement, but refused to get one because of his religious beliefs as a Jehovah's Witness. According to this theory, Prince's faith prohibited him from receiving a blood transfusion, which would have been necessary for such a surgery. But pain wasn't the only burden Prince carried. His personal life, much like his public one, was filled with highs and lows. Despite his many relationships and undeniable appeal, lasting love seemed to elude him. Prince was married twice, but neither marriage brought him the happiness he sought. His first marriage, to Maite Garcia, a dancer and backup singer, was particularly heartbreaking. The two tied the knot on Valentine's Day in 1996, but their joy was short-lived. Later that year, their son, boy Gregory, was born with Pfeiffer syndrome, a rare genetic disorder. The baby died just a week later, a devastating blow that the couple never truly recovered from. Their marriage ended in divorce in 2000. Prince's second marriage, to Manuela Testolini, seemed more hopeful at first. The two shared a passion for philanthropy and worked together on various charitable projects through Prince's organization, Love for One Another. They married in 2001, but by 2006, this union too had unraveled. Despite the split, they appeared to remain on good terms, with Testolini later revealing that Prince had continued his charitable work anonymously for years. As if his health issues and personal tragedies weren't enough, Prince also faced significant professional challenges. Prior to his unfortunate demise, Prince had an epic battle with Warner Bros. This story is a saga in itself. Back when Prince was a huge star signed to Warner Bros., he started fighting for control over his music. He famously said, "I own the work because I paid for it and I did all the work." In other words, he created his music, so he believed it should belong to him. But, as you might guess, the record companies saw things differently.
The way I looked at it, I owned the work because I paid for it. And I did all the work. I created it, so I felt like it should belong to me. That said, the companies felt otherwise.
Prince waged a war against Warner Bros., fighting tooth and nail for ownership of his rights and more creative control. It wasn't a walk in the park, especially since he was trying to break free from a deal he signed when he was just 19. The battle got so real that he famously started appearing with the word slave on his face in 1999, a bold statement to say the least. In an interview with Paper Mag, Prince spilled the tea on wanting to buy back his masters from Warner Bros. Their response? A solid no way. So what did Prince do? He dropped a bomb saying, "I'm going to re-record them, all of them." Picture this, 2 catalogs with almost the same music. But Prince's version, well, that's going to be the superior one. You can either toss your money to the big company or support New Power Generation, he said. The man had choices, and he wanted you to make them. Prince didn't hold back about the industry's grip on artists in other interviews either. He laid it out plain and simple, saying, "As long as you're signed to a contract, you're going to take a minority share of the winnings. Only a select few make it big, while the majority are left in the dust."
Well, it's not your game. You didn't make the rules, so everything comes hard. And as long as you're signed to a contract, you're going to take a minority share of the winnings. A select few of us will do well. The majority will not.
Fast forward a bit, and Prince eventually cut ties with Warner Bros. But, plot twist, he rejoined them in 2014, this time with ownership of his old masters. There was a catch, though. The label held the global licensing rights. Now, here's where the conspiracy theories kick in. Some fans are whispering that maybe, just maybe, the industry wasn't too happy about Prince reclaiming control, and that might have played a part in the tragic turn of events. In fact, Prince might not be the only celebrity who died while trying to fight the industry. We have other equally talented artists, such as Whitney Houston and Phyllis Hyman, who pretty much met the same fate. You see, in the 1970s, Clive Davis, while managing Columbia Records, became embroiled in a drug trafficking scandal that shook the music industry. Federal agents raided the label, leading to the prosecution of several individuals, including Davis's closest assistant, for trafficking drugs between Italy, the US, and Canada. Subsequently, Davis was fired, though he managed to maintain a clean record. This incident raises questions about Davis's later influence on artists like Whitney Houston, who faced her own struggles with drugs. For context, Clive orchestrated Whitney's comeback in 2009 after years of substance AB and a messy relationship which ended in a messy divorce. Her debut album, I Look to You, sold 304,000 copies in its first 7 days on the market, sending Houston back to the top of the charts and giving her the best debut week of her career. Houston still stands for the best of songwriting, the best of singing. And we know the public wants it, Clive said in 2009. There is a song on this album which is called I Didn't Know My Own Strength, and it really speaks for Whitney. She tumbled, but she didn't crumble. In any case, Whitney did not release anything after that since her voice had been ruined due to substance AB, much to Clive's disappointment. But despite the undeniable vocal decline and the unmistakable shadow cast over Whitney's star power, Clive's optimism seemingly remained unscathed. Of course, one might wonder if his rosy outlook was fueled by the substantial coin he continued to rake in from her legacy. It's difficult not to speculate whether Clive's unwavering hope was propelled by the echoes of revenue streams rather than genuine concern. Anyway, it was no secret that the music mogul appeared to be more invested in making money than in his protege's well-being. You see, Whitney died on Feb. 11, 2012, the day before the Grammy Awards. This was hours before she was to attend Davis' annual pre-Grammy party. At the time, the public and lovers of her music worldwide were devastated by her passing. However, Davis, Whitney's self-proclaimed friend and mentor, still hosted his pre-Grammy party in the Beverly Hilton Hotel on the evening of February 11th, despite the singer's body remaining inside the building until 12:45 a.m. At the start of the event, he shared a tribute to Houston saying, "By now you have all learned of the unspeakably tragic news of our beloved Whitney's passing. I don't have to mask my emotion in front of a room full of so many dear friends." The Grammy Award winner continued, "I am personally devastated by the loss of someone who has meant so much to me for so many years. Whitney was so full of life. She was so looking forward to tonight, even though she wasn't scheduled to perform. Whitney was a beautiful person and a talent beyond compare. She graced this stage with her regal presence and gave so many memorable performances here over the years. Simply put, Whitney would have wanted the music to go on, and her family asked that we carry on." Whitney Houston's death on the eve of the Grammys in 2012 came as a horrific shock, if not entirely without warning.
Paramedics raced to the 4th floor and found a lifeless Whitney Houston inside her hotel room bathtub. They tried in vain to resuscitate her with CPR.
The platinum-selling singer and actress was to attend Clive Davis's annual pre-Grammys bash at the Beverly Hilton that night, but instead, she died in a room upstairs after accidentally drowning in the bathtub. It was reported at the time that the LA County Coroner's Office noted in its post-mortem findings that a white crystal-like substance was found in the room. There was also an open bottle of champagne and other personal items believed to belong to the late songstress. An autopsy was performed with the official cause of death listed as accidental drowning with atherosclerotic heart disease and cocaine use, just probably immediately prior to the drowning listed among contributing factors. Although Clive wasn't the one who got her hooked on substances, we still cannot dismiss Clive's involvement in all this. Interestingly, Clive Davis recently shared that Prince had spoken to him about some questionable deals offered by music labels. During their discussions, Prince's disdain for cover versions of his songs was a frequent topic. This conversation resurfaced when they discussed Mariah Carey's recording of The Beautiful Ones, which Prince apparently didn't approve of. Carey recorded it without his permission, which is legally permissible under the compulsory license provision that allows anyone to record a song without needing a waiver. However, Prince had a different reaction to other covers of his songs like I Feel For You, Manic Monday, and Nothing Compares to You. These were all covers he supported and benefited from financially, but with Mariah's cover, that wasn't the case. Clive Davis wrote, "Let me confirm that Prince absolutely despised the compulsory license statutory provision. When Arista distributed Prince's album Rave into the Joy Fantastic, the only album we worked on together, this was his favorite topic. Every time we spoke, whether it was a phone call, a concert, or a dinner, the issue of the unfair and inequitable compulsory licenses came up, and we had intense discussions about it. This was always at Prince's insistence. I didn't agree with him at all, and we would go back and forth on the issue. He even wanted me to go to Washington, D.C. with him to meet with Congress and plead his case. I refused because I disagreed with his stance. Then one day Prince called me to say that he kept bringing up the subject because he found our dialogue fascinating and wanted us to record our conversations and release them on a CD. CD. I told him the CD would flop because I didn't think anyone was interested in the topic except him. Maybe I was right or maybe I was wrong, but I sure wish today I had tapes of those conversations. I would cherish them with much nostalgia and great affection. Anyway, another figure that Prince battled with both in life and in death was Jay-Z. Prince was a huge supporter of artist-owned platforms, so at first he was interested in working with Jay-Z's Tidal, a streaming service that promised to give artists more control and a bigger cut of the profits. However, Jay-Z wanted more than just Prince's support. He wanted ownership of Prince's entire music catalog for Tidal, which Prince immediately shut down. After Prince tragically passed away in 2016, things got even messier. His estate accused Roc Nation of trying to profit off Prince's death by exploiting his music without authorization. Roc Nation argued they had the rights, but Prince's team wasn't having it, and the estate filed a lawsuit against Jay-Z. See, Prince had allowed Tidal to stream his album Hit and Run for a limited amount of time. However, after Prince died, Tidal continued to stream Prince's entire back catalog, despite Prince giving them permission to stream only one album for just 90 days. But Jay-Z was shameless. He started publicly bragging about having control over Prince's masters, despite the fact that Prince never left them to Tidal. In fact, just 1 month after Prince died, Jay-Z dropped a verse on Fat Joe and Remy Ma's All the Way Up remix, rapping, "Prince left his masters where they safe and sound. We never going to let the elevator take him down." Now, here's where things get even more sketchy. Prince died almost exactly 2 years after he regained control of his masters from Warner Music. On April 18, 2014, news broke that Prince had officially regained ownership of his iconic catalog. Then, almost 2 years to the day later, on April 21, 2016, Prince was found dead in an elevator at his Paisley Park home. Prince's death was ruled an accidental overdose, and according to the police report, he thought he was taking Vicodin to manage his pain. However, the pills were counterfeit and laced with the deadly fentanyl. Hours after announcing a decision not to file charges in Prince's death, authorities released documents and video of his last days. Among the evidence were pictures from Paisley Park on the day Prince died, showing pills in a Bayer bottle that authorities say contained the deadly counterfeit Vicodin. Unfortunately, these counterfeit Vicodin pills were an exact imitation of real Vicodin pills, but they contained the potentially deadly opioid fentanyl. With all these weird coincidences, it didn't take long before Prince's fans started speculating that his death wasn't just an accident, and that someone may have given him laced pills on purpose. In any case, as the news of Tyka Nelson's death spreads, fans and family are left to wonder if it was truly natural causes or something far more sinister. Prince's legacy, a story of independence and resistance, may have been too much for the industry to handle. And now, the last direct link to him is gone. Was Tyka simply caught in the crossfire of a powerful industry, or was she actively silenced for something she knew? Until more answers emerge, fan suspicions may be the closest insight we have into what really happened. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.